And ladies and gentlemen, we're live. We're here for the Shonen Ronin episode 51, presented to you by the Anime Lady channel. And let's start the show and show our beautiful faces of the panelists. So, here is the Anime Lady podcast with the Shonen Ronin show, episode 51, and we present to you with Kaiju number 8, One Piece, Undead Unluck, and JJK, and My Hero Academia coverage for today's episode. And I'm here joined by KendellxAnime and the Prince, the Dark Side. Abe, how we all doing today on this Sunday afternoon?
What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good, yo? Good morning. Good morning. Good afternoon. I'm excited to be here. Some good chapters that have dropped, especially for those who avoid spoilers. I know My Hero has been a topic of convention. For those who don't avoid spoilers, I know the TL have been talking about it for a while. So really glad to be here with you guys, with you fellas, and discuss this week's chapters.
Yo. Likewise, yes, the TL has been disgusting with the MHA spoilers. Spoilers in general being a hot topic. Shout out to Anime Lately, Analytical, Blanime, all the different pods, because everybody been trying their best to talk around this thing online without talking about it. And also shout out to the guys that's over there in the Twitter spaces right now talking about spoiler etiquette and stuff. But I'm ready to get into it. Y'all already know what time it is. We on spoiler time right now. So if you ain't caught up, this is your one and only warning to leave.
That's 100% sure. If you're not caught up to the series that I brought up at the beginning, Kaiju number 8, One Piece, Undead Unluck, JJK, and MHA, those series are the series that we'll be discussing. Perhaps Black Clover at the right end. So if you want us to discuss Black Clover, let us know in the chat. All time codes will be down below in the description. So if you don't read the series after the live stream, you can check them out per time code. And additionally, guys, I want to throw out a question to the fans, to the audience of the Shonen Ronin show. How would everyone feel if we moved the 12:30 1 p.m. start time of Shonen Ronin to the 7 p.m. slash of the 7:30 p.m. start time EST starting August 28th? Let us know, fans and audience. I will repeat this for the next show. And talking about next show, there is no weekly Shonen Jump chapters coming out on August 14th. This is a double issue Jump series. I mean, of the Jump issue. So there will be no issue next week. Most likely there may not be a show as well, but I'll keep you guys I'll keep you guys posted on the YouTube community tab or on the Twitter. But with all that being out of the way, like, comment, subscribe, put all the shabam of the most things you guys know on the YouTube channels. And like our boy Kendall said, go check out all the Twitter links, all the Twitter space that we always like to give the shout out to. But with that being out of the way, let's discuss the big thing, Kaiju number 8. Because honestly, I was gonna wait and read the chapter today, but our boy Abe gave some screenshots on the Twitter side, and I was like, wait, what are these formations? What are these creatures? I was like, hold up, I gotta read this chapter on my phone. Even though, it's the iPhone 11, I just don't like to read mangas on the small phone. I like to read on my tablet or at least on my computer. But once Abe posted this, I was like, yo, I gotta get on this. What's going on? What are these new creature formations? They look very humanoid. What's going on? So I want to pass it down first to Abe, because you're the one that made me inclined to read it first. So what was your first thoughts and hypeness? Because you inclined me to read it real quick.
Oh man, to be honest, it was great. I'm gonna just say this right now. My favorite chapter of the week was Kaiju number 8. The progression and story has been great, but this chapter we saw like 5, 6 different types of kaiju that has never been seen before, and they're all doing random shit. Like, you got one racing against cars on the highway. You got one just wandering around, spinning like a spinning top. It made me think of a Pokemon. I'm gonna be real with you. You got another one who's just eating the fish, and then boom, as quickly as they appear, they disappear. And I'm like, man, Kaiju number 9 got some heat cooking for for the world right now. He getting ready, he coming out the hyperbolic chamber. He about to fuck some shit up. And I just love the ones that I posted on my Twitter were my favorite looking kaiju. That big ass one in the forest was something crazy, just mindlessly walking through. Then you had the floral one that reminded me of a Pokemon that was just like a ballerina, you know. And then the one eating the fish, I was like, hey, this y'all just all the fish are just flying out and like some tractor beam type shit all the way into his mouth. It really made for some good stuff. Overall, I guess you could say there was nothing substantial to the story that was added in Kaiju in this chapter of Kaiju number 8. It's just more question marks than anything, and that's always good because now we're left wanting more. Like, yo, next chapter we need an explanation for what the fuck this is. What the fuck is going on? Who is all of these people? All of these Kaiju just popping up out of nowhere, causing no destruction, doing random ass shit, and then just disappearing like they were never here. It was a great, like, oh my gosh, type of chapter for sure.
The one thing I like about this chapter is that this gave a inclination that Kaiju number 10 was not lying. Everyone in the government of the division were like, oh, Kaiju number 10 was telling the truth about this fast production, but it's much faster than expected. So they're now maybe more inclined to trust our boy Kaiju number 10 or what he's saying, or spilling the leaks of information to the government. So maybe he's more inclined to actually the government to listen to, like, yo, I told you about this, he's more faster than he has done. So that's a dope information to be dropped. I agree with Abe. Like, the most weirdest one was the 3-headed kind of monoglyph that literally was from the train station. That's the one that threw me off. I was like, okay, interesting design. That was the one that was the most creepiest. The one that reminded me of a Pokemon that A brought up is the purple and pink. I think it's a poison slash fighter. I think it's Swamp Thing or something like that. I think his name. I forgot what's his actual name, but that's what he reminded me of when he was eating all the fish. So overall, cool designs. How about you, Kendall? How do you feel about this chapter of Kaiju number 8?
Yeah, this is a good chapter. Much like I was just saying in the chat, Kaiju number 8 fans are eating this week. We definitely got that anime confirmation. It's been a good week, I think. Also the perspective of the consciousness of the captain still being present, and that kind of being kind of a guide point throughout that entire chapter. I again, my predictions continue to be pretty on brand with the way the direction is going, so I like it because I'm looking for Kaiju to preserve a certain type of integrity in regards to the pacing, in regards to the content, and I think they're doing a really good job of being like sincere to the thing that they've established for us from the beginning. So I'm very excited about that. Now, the only thing that caught me off guard this chapter was we had some conversation a while back and we were all pretty convinced that old girl wasn't gonna ever use any of this stuff. So for her to then sit there in front of her mom's, her partner, it was kind of exciting. So I definitely, like, even just reflecting and talking about it a little bit more, I'll say at the end for sure, but I'll definitely say a top chapter of this week was definitely Kaiju number 8.
I agree because I was shocked to see her look and say, I will revenge my dad, but please watch over me, mom. I'm like, oh shit, she acknowledged that her mom was caused by death by this Kaiju, but she's also taking a big responsibility. But also, it's great, not saying foreshadow, but great storytelling from the beginning of the chapter to start off with her father like still being there in the void. It kind of remind me of the movie Get Out, like just stuck in the void of you trying to be in the trap of your mind, but then slowly just fading away. So I'm like, okay, so is he trapped enough that he will be gone and disappear, or by the time we reach like 150 chapters and they capture Kaiju number 9, is he still there within that body, just very lost in the consciousness, or by the end of the chapter do we all think that he's just gone? How do y'all feel about that? Like, do y'all think the commander is gone after this last chapter because he faded away, lost consciousness?
I hope that it's not a situation where it's like, oh, we can still, find him in there and we can still rescue him. Like, nah, he gone. He gone. He's fading to the darkness. It's over. We're moving on. Kaiju number 9 is taking over. We on to the next phase. That would be my hope. I'd rather not be a thing like we can still save that man, especially after all the loss that people have experienced. For this one to be like, hey, we got him back, just seems too cheap to me. In the term of storytelling, just seems really cheap to me. So I'm not going to entertain any idea that that the commander can still be saved. You feel me?
I hope not. But given the things that were in this chapter, we got the whole family unit reference to the mom, dad's conscious fading, acquiring the kaiju. It's probably gonna show. I hate that, but he's probably gonna show up again in some type of facet or form a little later on in the series, is what I'm kind of guessing. Would I want that? Not necessarily, but if it's executed correctly, I'm not gonna complain about it.
Understandable. Like, that's why I asked if you guys think if he was gonna still move forward with his character, because from what we saw, like, in some storytelling, they will pop up again in the next 20, 30 chapters to see if he'll still fade. That's why I asked, with that being the case. But other than that, like Abe said, this chapter did not happen a lot. It just showed a lot of different variations of the fast mass of production for the kaijus. Do you think there was more that we have not seen publicly, or do you think these were the ones that we saw right now, but in the future, in the next 10, 20 chapters, we're going to see more of the different designs?
Oh, I wouldn't even fathom that this is it. We're going to be in for a solid surprise. This was just a flash. Like, who knows even if they're going to be used again, or whether we'll see a whole plethora of other ones, an army to say the least. I mean, we still got so much story and so much lore. Let's not forget, a couple chapters ago we had the samurai. Like, we still got that storyline, to that plot point to bring back and connect the whole thing. But all in all, nah, I don't think that this is all that there is to the kaiju. Hell nah, this was just a little
Mhm.
sneak peek, a little preview, a
Yeah.
little taste of like what's to come. So that's what makes me very excited about the whole thing, because these designs were looking really good. They were really good, and I was like, these
Definitely.
these kaiju, they're not your typical, of course. And we about to see if they are going to be used in combat. We about to see some nasty, nasty fights. Some nasty fights. Especially if these end up being numbered kaiju as well. Like this, so who knows if this is like kaiju number 21, kaiju number 34, who knows? And if that's the case, we're going to see more unique powers that this squad has never seen before. And while they're getting ready to use their own numbers and find compatible users for it, yo, it may not be the biggest advantage y'all think y'all have, because y'all still going into unknown territory here. And that has me really, really, really excited for future chapters and for the overall story.
Was also to acknowledge that each of these characters has their own different type of attributes. The, like the monoglyph was floating on gravity and then just floated back in the air. So that's just a whole different type of power scheme. The one A brought up earlier, you have a whole one that was racing against a car, so it's like a little Flash type of person, like just full speed. But then there was another character that didn't really show any type of attributes of power. It was the one that looked that looked like a woman that's literally in the middle of Shibuya, of Tokyo, and just floating around, and then after that it just disappears. And the ones that just grab the gravity of water and eats all kinds of fish. So it's very intriguing that each of them have their own type of attributes. But the very first one, pretty interesting that it looks like a mecha, like the biggest tall one. But I'm not sure if it's on two legs or on four legs. That's one I couldn't tell. So overall, it's pretty intriguing. So does anybody have any last thoughts for Kaiju number 8 before we move on? So for that being the case, this is the Kaiju number 8 review / discussion for chapter 68. Now let's move on to the big behemoth, One Piece, chapter 1056. Yeah, a lot happened. For chapter 1055 and 1056, we didn't get the chance to talk about last week either. So, anybody thoughts about the monoglyph? Poneglyph, Shanks, Green Bow? Cause it's a lot to discuss, a lot to drop. Kendall, I want to pass it to you first. What did you think of this? Like, so much thing to break down. What is the thing that really stood out to you in these past chapters?
These so much like Kaiju number 8, there's a lot of setup as we go transitioning into a new like part or arc of the story. So I've just been embracing that for what it is. This has been very straightforward. I knew Momo was gonna try and stop Yamamoto from progressing with them. I was kind of hesitant on how that was going to be because I was being hyper aware of the fact that she still hasn't officially been accepted into the crew. So I've been mindful of that. And then thinking about Carrot's situation, I thought Carrot was going to get to stay on the Straw Hat crew a little bit longer before any type of dramatic change to their character happened. But again, that was always in my perspective. Like I said, the only difference in my perspective was that I thought that it was going to take a little bit longer before Carrot came off of the crew. Which, not to say that she's fully off of the ship yet. We still don't know exactly what exactly is going to happen here, what directions are kind of going on. So yeah, I'm pretty content. This was a very good One Piece chapter. I felt like I got a lot of good information out of it. I think this is very on brand, especially with the crew. It was very interesting to see the interaction between those three captains again, the shade, the cross guild reference. We don't know for sure if that's like an official agreement or it's again Bucky kind of taking advantage of situations and things that's happening. You know, it could just be that everyone's attacking the Navy and the umbrella was kind of put under Buggy to an extent. Something similar to, you know, we don't want to give all the worst gen credit, so we'll give it to Luffy. He's the biggest issue right now, which I think is a fair point. I think some of the things will fall apart if Luffy out of the three of them were to be immediately eliminated. So it's different things. It's also the fact that they regarded the Cross Guild, but they didn't refer to the Straw Hat Armada because that is also a thing. It's actually even more of an established thing. So we'll continue to see how things progress. I like Pedro. I like the nod to Pedro. I like the fact that people are planning to stay. I'm glad that people are moving. I think everything's kind of progressing, but for me, it's just been like one really elaborate explanation of like the transition. So I'm just ready for the transition. But we're clearly transitioning now. They're on the boat. They're in the water. Directions have been picked. Where we're going now. There might be another chapter of just like, you know, another couple chapters of like moving to the next destination, but I'm interested in seeing how all that plays out. We're definitely obviously not going to get everyone's story at the same time, more than likely. So I'm wondering what's going to happen when Law comes back into the picture and if and when Kid also comes back into the picture. So I'm pretty excited for what's next. I want to know what's in these different directions. I want to know what the ramifications are. And obviously, Law has a little bit more piece of information and context that everyone doesn't have. And he's a little bit of brooding. So I'm a little suspicious about that. And obviously, we got that spy in the background lurking. So we'll talk about that when that comes up again, too. But yeah, that's my take on just like the past couple of chapters, especially this one.
Abe, how about you? We haven't heard from you on your One Piece takes in a while, so tell us.
Honestly, man, it's hey, we how long have we been asking for something about Shanks? You know, how long have we been asking to see him? What is he up to? What is the red hair pirate is up to? And the chapter for this one, you know, we get to see him share his thoughts on Luffy's journey, and the rest of his crew also share their opinion. Like, yo, is it time? Is it time to pull up on the youngin? Is it time to make it be like, hey, what's up, little homie? We back, and your OGs. What we doing today? And then Shank just stunting and using his hockey from such a distance was fucking incredible. But of course, we have the One Piece Red movie also coming out too, so it made sense to for Oda to give us a little bit more Shanks than we're used to, especially since we're gonna get a supposedly a lot more of Shanks. Whether that's true or not, but it was good. And then this recent chapter that just dropped today, um, where we're getting ready. We're getting ready to set out, leave Wano, head on to the next path. Probably make a layover in between just to give Oda and them some time to really get things going. And what is the final saga of the One Piece um, fandom, One Piece world, anyway. And I really like how things are moving. I like the fact that Carrot is now going to become the king, the ruler of the mink. It's a nice, if she's not going to stay with the crew, this is a nice, really like, all right, here's the second best option. You feel me? I'm glad that Yamamoto will be joining. Well, we still gotta wait for Jinbei had checked her at the door, and we ain't hear nothing since then, like Kendall mentioned. So we still waiting on that, but it's coming, and just everything else that was involved with this chapter, like the familial moment between grandfather and grandchild. Like now Momonosuke is gonna have an actual mentor, someone who can really show him the ways of being a ruler, a king, because he's lacked that his entire life, unfortunately, because his dad's gone. We got dog and cat willing to stay to continue their servitude to Momonosuke through their connection with Odin. I just thought like, wow, we're not fully done with Wano yet, but I like how Wano has come full circle for the characters there, for not for the Straw Hat Pirates, but for everybody in Wano. Everything has come full circle now. It really does end on a happy ending. Odin dying was not in vain. The liberation. Yes, there's now a target on their back because of no Kaido. That always happens when you create a power vacuum. There's always going to be competition. But Mononosuke has a solid starting foundation right now with everybody in the kingdom. He's going to be all right. He's going to be all right, and I'm glad to know that. And when it comes to the pirates, Law always, to me, Law is just so impressive. I fucking love everything about Law, his demeanor, how he composes himself, how he carries himself, and him, not being a complete dick and leaving Kid sketch a tracing of the poneglyph that they found, and then the hint of like, look for the man with the burn mark. Kid knows what it means. Kid is good though.
The fact that Kid is on game to something that Luffy in is also hilarious in and of itself.
And then
I love the
the
chemistry
back and forth between the two. Yeah, Luffy is like, well, I'm the emperor of the sea. Like, hello, I own the club. Like, I can kick you out. What's good? You better tell me the info I need to know right now. But now we get a little
Kid
bit
reaction. It's just. And the kid reaction just he's like, and you guys are rubbing it in my face, but when it comes to Emperor, and the one who really makes me mad, like it's just their chemistry is like child, but it's so genuine, like it's so natural.
I mean,
the way they just
the
discuss
youngest
each other.
emperor of the sea right now, as far as we know, he's the youngest ever.
Yo, it's still funny though. The like that's not really Luffy's character type, but his character type is to be like that, like, well, sucks to be you kind of person. So it's like, yeah, in your face, by the way.
Yeah,
I'm the emperor, and how come do I lose to you? What?
It reminds you that Luffy is still Luffy. At the end of the day, like while he has his prestigious title and everything, he's not changing. He's not about to become a more serious character. Like, they said, hey, you want Pluton? He's like, nah, I'm good. I don't need it. Yeah.
That is interesting though, because we've been saying everything's gonna still end up coming back to Wano, that we're not done with Wano.
Exactly.
And I don't see the way that One Piece has been setting up things. I don't think that we get One Piece without the activation of the other various parts. So we know for sure we're gonna end up some way, somehow back at One Piece.
Wano's gonna get involved.
So we're somewhere. is gonna become a crucial point at some point, and it really might be right at the end. It may not even be at Wano per se, but we know we're gonna have to at least reference back to Wano at some point, and it's gonna be fire.
Because we know that Pluton can't be released without opening the borders of Wano, and Mononosuke has decided to keep the borders closed for now, but he does plan to open it. So it already guarantees, like Kendall's been saying, yeah, we going Wano's gonna come back around again, because I mean we can't just leave Pluton just unactivated and just dormant for so long, right?
Agree.
And then the final bit, the poster with Buggy, Emperor of the Sea, Buggy, and how it looks like his subordinates are now Croc and Mihawk, is just like, hey, yo, Buggy's always been that character you don't take serious. I never took seriously. Let me speak for myself. I've never taken Buggy seriously. He's a clown, he's a coward and all that stuff. But for somehow he's managed to stay alive, and he's ran with some impressive ass people. Let's not forget he was on that ship with Shanks. He was he was with Whitebeard. Let's not forget. He ain't no bitch. That nigga ain't no bitch. But I definitely love to see what this means moving forward. Even Zolo is like, hey, Mihawk is with Buggy? Ain't no way, boss. So I'm curious to see what Oda does with that. And the last thing I want to mention is actually on the very first page. The cover stories that Oda does. I love seeing Katakuri back. I love seeing him back in action. Katakuri in the oven about to take on German 66. I was like, okay, I'm excited for the next chapter. Who win that fight now? Who win that fight? I mean, most my money's gonna be on Katakuri because
I'm saying it's Mink on Katakuri touching him up, bro.
Like mochi, motherfucker. Like you feel me? So
I
I'm
was so
excited.
happy seeing both of them. Like, if it was Germa, the brothers and the sister, just like, no, I'm like, yep, they're not gonna get this W. Both of them, both other commanders are ready to give these hands, and I was like, damn, Katakuri, just nice to see you again. And I agree with Abe. It's like, just to see the next chapter of what's the draw, who's the winner. I can't wait to see that. But I do want to add, what Abe said. I love how you brought up is that Buggy with the Cross Guild. I didn't expect that type of return events, but like you said, I don't expect too much from Buggy. Not saying that I don't expect him to be a character in the world, but he is the Jester the Clown. He is the one that gives those shocking moments. And yes,
the thing is, I don't. This is the one lazy thing that Oda has been doing in all of this development that I don't like, and it's smart, but it is slightly lazy. Everything else defects to Buggy, and it's been happening for a long time
because it's what connects Buggy to Luffy from the beginning of the series, but it's what connects Buggy to Shanks as well.
It's Buggy's actually the central. Like, Buggy and Luffy are almost two sides of the same coin.
Agree.
Basically, so they're both the glue that connects the entire world together. They're just two sides of the coin essentially. But again, my thing is like, Oda's aware of it because even Zoro's like, Mihawks would never, not the Mihawks that I know, which again puts another layer of like, okay, we're not getting the full picture here of what's going on. So I feel like it's that thing where it's like, it is I think it should be expected by now. I think the reality of what it is later on, we'll find out what it is, but for it to be something attached to Buggy at this point, that makes a lot of sense. And like, even what they were a chat about Karibu, like it's gonna be interesting to see who coming to. Is it the Marines? Is it Blackbeard? Is it Buggy? Like, I even threw in there, what if it's Morgan? Morgan just got more people in there. He's trying to get some behind the scenes, and he's also trying to, I think Morgan also wants to push some support behind Luffy. I think he's starting to lean in his favor because he sees that he's the big story. You know what I mean? He wants the big story. It's not really like about supporting Luffy specifically, but it's about like, yo, what's gonna be the most exciting story? I want to be the person that's on the forefront of the story of a lifetime. There's never gonna be a bigger story. There's never gonna be a bigger moment. And Morgan ain't afraid of the light. Morgan will die to get the story out. So we'll see what happens.
And I just love how it says with the subordinates. Like, it shows that, like a brother Zoro even say, wait, Four Eyes, like our boy Hawkeye's was at Four Eyes. the guy Hawkeye, that he's even with Buggy the Clown. Like, it just shows that Buggy is that man. Like, he must have convincing, he must have a story, but Buggy is a person that you cannot underestimate. He grabbed everyone from Impel down under his crew, so it shows that Buggy has what it takes to some extent. Like, like Kendall said, I do agree. I wish we saw some of the stuff not always off screen, but it's nice to see that in the world of One Piece with almost 1,000 characters, 1,000 chapters, that with all these characters, Luffy, his crew is still moving along. They're the main characters, but the other people that we have met, they're not doing a standstill and just staying in place in the story. They're moving along within the source. So that is the most beautiful thing, part of One Piece, even though sometimes we would like to see part of the story and not always be off screen. I do agree in the chat. I say, guys, in the chat, that weird of how a Kaido, of how Kid Law just had the whole poneglyphs map already, mapped out and everyone. So it's just weird that that wasn't really explained too well. I felt like it. So I wish that was explained much better for us to understand, like, how did Law and Kid just pass the information, like, no problem, because they just got it from Big Mom.
Law makes sense. Makes sense.
Law makes sense, but I'm saying,
but definitely Law. I think Law is trying to your point. I think Law is trying to bait Kid and Luffy into getting more information for him, essentially. So like, it's not just like a kindness thing. It's like, I need you to go explore this, which is, I think, why you notice he has like the turn and his face is covered and he has like that shadow look when that panel comes over afterwards. Yes. And it's kind of like, yeah, y'all niggas do what you gotta do. All right. So I think he's trying to utilize everybody as well. Once again, I'm gonna just continue reminding, because I think as the story goes on, we keep forgetting. Allegedly, Law also carries the will of the D. Yeah. So there's still something to be said about Law's full-on relation, how that may turn back in regards to the story. So keep paying attention to Law, keep paying attention to Buggy. They're gonna continue to be key parts of this final parts of the story. Hey, allegedly, everything's alleged until it's confirmed. Everything is alleged until it's confirmed.
That is true. No, that is true what you say. It's because Robin, I love how Robin always sneaks in that panel of showing that she's observing or watching, because her face shows that question mark. So it shows that girl knows what's happening. Girl sees the shit. So she's like, oh, I'm gonna just be on the lookout if Law watches us, or like, he knows. And also, Robin was with Law seeing the poneglyph, so girl probably knows how he's thinking. Like, oh, he's probably trying to look for more clues, more notes, maybe having the other two of these, like Kid and Luffy himself, to guide him. Law could just be on the track with us as well. So you got a point there.
Also, here's the other thing with the alleged. We haven't gotten a proper explanation on the relation aspect, like bloodline aspect, in regards to the will of the D. So that's like one thing to keep in mind. And then also, I just saw a comment. Oh, Big Mom is not confirmed dead. Yeah, let me just go ahead and remind y'all, not confirmed dead, actually. So
hello, who said? I mean, let's be real. Luffy still hasn't won a 1v1 versus Shorty. Like, Luffy has not got the win versus Big Mom. Let's don't start thinking that all these other motherfuckers taking out Big Mom.
Kaido is where exactly? When last y'all saw Kaido? I'm just saying, y'all making assumptions, and I know better than to make assumptions with Oda. That's all I'm saying. I'm not making no assumptions until Oda says until Oda says it explicitly, as clear as day. Then I'm not assuming nothing, bro.
Let's not forget the Straw Hats ran out of whole cake. Luffy could not see Big Mom one-on-one. Stop playing with her, shorty. Stop playing with Lin.
Y'all see what's on the front page. Y'all see stuff is still happening a whole cake. I'm just saying, like, y'all need to ease up on that a little bit.
That don't look like Lin dead now.
She might be dead. I'm not saying y'all wrong. I'm just saying.
No, but y'all got a point, because I just brought it up. In the rule of fiction, comic book, manga, if nobody is shown on the screen or on the panel, is not dead. If it's talk about, like, there's a series that I saw, I forgot, and they spoke about there's someone being dead. I know that character may be coming back, because they said, oh, I saw him die, but I had to leave him because I had to escape. I'm like, so technically he's not dead. Yeah, I don't know. You just saw him bleeding out. We don't know if his heart stopped and everything, because we know somebody else's heart stopped, but not in this series. So it just brings out to the point that with One Piece, with so many characters, we have never see them confirmed dead. We cannot say they're dead. Like the same thing with what happened 2 weeks ago, chapter 1054. They said the king of Alabasta is dead. The princess Avivi is gone. But guess what? That's what the government is saying. We have no confirmation that the king of Alabasta is actually dead. So don't just assume. So we just gotta keep on lookout. It's like, like the word fake news is what comes out to the public and what the government like to say.
My last thing with that, which you reminded me of, is I don't think it's a little surprising in any type of light that the king is missing, and all of a sudden we see Crocodile again, and he's part of Buggy's crew. I told y'all that last week. I was like, y'all, I knew Croc was coming back. As soon as we started talking about Alabasta again, I knew Croc was coming back. And obviously Croc is another key person to Luffy and Luffy's development. So we know that Croc has to come back. So the next person I'm waiting to see come back that I know will come back is definitely we need some more screen time for Smoker.
Smoker needs to, man. He needs to.
He'll definitely be back in this arc. I'm almost willing to. I am not Oda, but I'm almost willing to guarantee whatever this next arc is, or this next journey rather. Smoker is definitely going to probably be a key part of what's going on. I think Fujitora and Smoker are going to be really relevant to what's going to happen in the next part. But that's my last thoughts on this.
Akiji as well, like their character is supposed to bring the new reign of the world government. Akiji and Smoker have their both realization of what the government has wrong about or what they need to improve on as a government. So I agree on that. Abe, you have any last questions or last thoughts of this chapter, or what you have to hope to see?
Nah, that's it.
Since this seems like the wrap of a Wano.
Yeah, that's it. Everything that I needed to say was said.
All right. Same here as well for myself. This chapter was good. A lot of setup, a lot of small monologue of people saying stuff they would do. Like Yamato said she's gonna join the crew and live her life like Odin. But girl, the ship is about to leave, so you better start running or jumping on buildings to get to the ship of the 1000 Sunny. So I can't wait to see what happens with that and the whole crew. And does our boy Momonosuke get to say bye to Luffy, or do they do the farewell like they do with Vivi? Throw the hands up, you do the peace sign to show that there's still a whole team and part of the crew. So that'll be very homage to what happened with Alabasta, with Vivi, Crocodile being the scene. It'd be a very homage to the story if they say bye the same way, throw the hands up in the peace sign. So that'll be a very homage. And Ken, do you have any last thoughts? Because I know you said that you did, but I just want to make sure before we wrap up.
Nah, you good. I hope it's not that same thing. I'm sure there's a message somewhere for them, but I think there's an intention behind it. We'll see it.
All right, guys. If we miss any thoughts to bring up or discuss in the One Piece chapter, please let us know in the comment section below or in the chat, so we can respond back to you guys and have a full discussion. But other than that, Undead Unluck chapter, and also big announcement: Undead Unluck is getting an anime, so that is pretty hype. And I forgot to bring up as well, Kaiju number 8 is getting an anime in the beginning of the coverage as well. So Kaiju number 8 is getting an anime, and Undead Unluck is getting an anime. Every series is getting anime. Instead of Mission Jujutsu Family, still we're 130 plus chapters and still haven't gotten a full announcement for that series. But that's a whole different discussion. Undead Unluck, how do we feel about this chapter? Abe, Kendall, who wants to bring it up with?
Hey, why don't you go first? We already talked.
It's not a bad chapter. It's not a bad chapter. I say because I struggle to really
talk about it, Abe. Talk about it, because I have real mixed feelings about this chapter too.
And it's just so it's so sentimental. It's so they're banking on emotion. There is one thing, my favorite thing about this chapter, it deals with my own personal beliefs and philosophies, is when Juiz is asking Fuko, like, what type of world are you trying to make? Because it seems like this loop doesn't take him to the past like we thought it would, where it gets a restart, and instead takes him to the future. But because it's constantly been used, it constantly takes you further into the future. So apparently the 1800s will be next. And Foucault's talking about how she basically wants a utopia, but how she realizes that that's not feasible. Hardships make the character. Hardships make you who you are. You need to go through these hardships in order to just develop as a person, and to have the relationships, the friendships, the enemies, the journeys, the love, the loss that you endure. And it's the one thing I've always thought, like, it's always seems so stupid to me, the idea of a paradise, about how there are, people in the world, people in stories who are like, yeah, I want to make a utopia. I'm like, I don't even want to be part of that utopia. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Ain't no utopia. That shit sound boring as fuck, motherfucker. I don't want none of that. I like my challenges. Not saying that the struggle's always gone, but it's allowed me. One of the things when people say, hey, if you could go back in time and redo your life, would you? My answer is no. No. The reason being, like, yo, there are some things that, yeah, I could change, but then that doesn't guarantee all the dope ass experiences that I still experience are coming to pass. I'm a big proponent of the butterfly effect as well. When that Ashton Kutcher movie came out, it was really that movie that solidified my thoughts on time travel. That being said, we now get to the thought that, hey, we got the perfect cheat code. We got the perfect cheat code to that issue that Foucault. If you wanted to enjoy this world where everything is controlled in humanity's hands, but with the people that you met now, not whatever iteration they're going to appear in this next loop. And it's like, Andy, Victor, Undead. Yeah, you got the cheat code. You got the artifact. Remember. And I'm just like, oh, um, okay. It seems it's too much of a cop out, in my opinion. Everything is just all of this, all these chapters, these struggles, the pain, the loss. We're basically saying, like, yeah, uh, we can fix everything, and everybody gets the happy ending they want. I'm just not the biggest fan of that at all. So, GG's.
Whew. Um, if I may follow up with that Kendall first, it was this chapter was not what I expected, and I wouldn't say that in a bad way. It was more as like I didn't expect this to be the turn of events after chapter 121 to be where it is, and the way they said the, their farewell, and the way we lost Billy and Tatiana, the way they continue to be who they were until the bitter end. That we met Juiz at the table, but then one, it was pretty dope to see Victor, because we don't give Victor very often. We give Victor like almost like every 20 or every 40 chapters, which I wish we get to see a flashback of him, because his it shows in this flashback of him as a kid. He's has a good heart. He smiles. He actually shows a personality instead of being all cold and heartless. But after you doing the loop so many times, and the way he explains it, it just makes sense why he has become the person who he is today. And it shows how that's tough for anybody, no matter if you're undead and you can't die, or you just get rehealed, reborn. But for a boy Victor, just go smiling and just be happy to see her. Oh, I have not seen you 4.4 billion years, and he's just so optimistic about it. He's like, yeah, I'm just here. And then Julius was just crying because she was like, oh, I felt bad you was alone. Not caring that we just started the loop. It's more that you was alone for this 4.4 billion years. So it shows how much that hurts. And it's like, damn, like those tears, those emotions are real. Not saying they're not real, but it's more like it makes sense why Juiz is very thankful that this might be the last loop that you can actually be able to fix everything. But also it shows Julius of how much hardship she's been doing to trying to save the world. But going towards what Abe said is a cheat code. I knew this type of metal piece inside Andy's slash Victor meant something because whenever we saw Victor, he never had the metal piece on his head. We only saw it with Andy. So it showed that Andy was recently a new personality because of the loop or because of some type of artifact. That was my guess, but I never had any concrete information for that. But for it to be that Jujutsu literally said like, hey, there is a possibility for you to make your vision possible. It's something that I once just imparted with, but in order to seal victim memories and keep him contained, the card and the artifact is the key to save everything. I'm mixed. Overall, the possibility that it could end well is more important on the execution. That's the most important on the execution of how us reading the audience be like, okay, this is understandable. Like we understand the story is a whole work of fiction, but can you make it understandable and execute it right where we feel like, okay, that was done well, not not done shitty, in more sense. How about you, Kendall? What do you think? How are you mixed? Because you said that you was alright.
It wasn't a bad chapter. We'll start there. It wasn't a bad chapter. Ultimately, I really feel like dancing around the loop. I don't know how else to say it. We're dancing around the loop. We've been this close to the loop for like 10 chapters now. Don't get me wrong, I predicted this. Like don't get me wrong.
I did say
predicted
chapter 123
this.
we might start the loop, so it might be next chapter.
I did predict this. However, 123, is that what you said?
Yeah, I said 122, 123. You said 127. Sam said 130 or after.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, I had different numbers in my head. That's not relevant. Point is, I did predict this. I knew we were gonna dance around the loop. Obviously, none of our numbers were that far apart in our guesses, but it's just it's this dancing. I don't feel like I got more context in any kind of way outside of like, did you have the whole chapter just to let me know that we've progressed so terribly with the loop that we're not no longer in the dinosaur era, we're in the era of the 1800s? If so, I didn't need the entire chapter for that. I didn't need the pretense. You're no longer judging her. We've already established that Fuku has the right justice. There was other ways to let us know exactly where Fuku's stance was. And it kind of feels like this chapter was meshed together of like 3 different points that weren't actually connected, but they are related. And I didn't really like that. So I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I didn't think it was a bad chapter. I did feel like it was a good chapter. I still get good information from it, but not necessarily the best execution for me in regards to the way that Undead Unluck does things. However, this is fairly consistent with what they've been showing us over the past 15 plus chapters. So I'm not surprised. Ultimately, it was nothing. I think the only thing that was kind of shocking or not so shocking, but only reveal that was like a little out there was the artifact Remember, which I had already had my assumptions that that had to be something pivotal to be suppressing Victor. So that wasn't really shocking. Again, it felt like, again, like these 3 different things, you're kind of making me see how it's related, but was there really a need to make me see how it's related all in this one chapter? You could have flushed out whatever for 1 or 2 things and then kind of added the next thing as a turn over to the next chapter. I think it would have been nicer to kind of just go ahead and establish Remember and then explain the context of why that's relevant and then tie Fuku into it. I would have done it in the reverse order of the reveal, essentially, to the way that they did it, me personally. Not saying it doesn't work. I just felt kind of blah about it because it feels really condensed into this chapter when maybe it should have been 2 chapters. But I know that we're trying to get to a point, and I do want us to progress there. So I'm here for it. I think the way that it was executed was very on brand for Juiz. with Juice being the focus of this chapter. So I'm not also pushing back against that. Like, I think it was done the way it was needed to get it was executed the way it needed to get executed, but I still am not necessarily a fan of this chapter this week. It's not in my top 3 chapters for this week. That's all I'll say on that.
I would I would argue that if this chapter was 2 to 3, like you said, but executed where it was more explicit to the audience, where we understood Joey's point, and at least show a flashback of Andy and Joey, sorry, about Victor and Joey's actually experiencing a loop, and like go like a montage, go from the dinosaur era to the 12th century to the 14th century, at least one chapter to show what that means. Like, yes, you explain it how by the next loop they will go, it is to the 1800s, but at least if they showed a bit of Joyce and Abu Victor chemistry, more of how they work together, the whole team up of the table and everything like that, that would be more intriguing for us audience to see how has that led up, and it should show like at least one chapter of a backstory, and the next chapter show, okay, so this is what happened, this is why, and then next chapter could be the one where we start the new loop in the 1800s. I feel like that would be more cleaner for us audience to see their development. This one felt like a setup chapter, but also moved the story along, which is understandable in most stories. But I feel like in this chapter per se, I felt like it was moving more than it needed to, and we would have liked to have that information fleshed out more than it was. So I feel like that would have been really useful to see. Because Victor said it in his flashback story, because it basically this loop thing will warp you to it's a newly formed Earth, effectively making it a time warp that only goes to the future. And then he said, not only that, but sends you to a time period when the Earth is inhabited by mankind. Truth be told, the new Earth suck at first. So like it would be very intriguing to see a bit more of him trying to survive as a person who's undead, a person with his skill sets and knowledge. It'd be very intriguing to see how he would have started the loop a bit more of that flashback. That's what got me more intrigued, more than Julius trying to be happy and girl Fuku being all emotional, crying, and explain her type of feelings, but to actually hear Jui's and about Victor flashback, it would have been more type of fascinating for us, the audience, because I would have been like to see that. But Abe, having the last thoughts for Undead Unluck or any more comments?
Nah, I'm good, boss. I'm good.
Same.
All right, so you guys want to move up to MHA or JJK?
Either one's good for me. Whatever's next on the docket, I'm down for.
Alrighty. So
Yeah, you got JJK in the title, so you might as well do JJK.
All right.
Hey Ray, if you're still in the chat, my hero next. You wanna pop in?
Or to JJK to talk about that Maki greatness. So JJK chapter 193. How are we feeling about that? Because I saw in the chat some people were feeling about the art style a bit, being rough or saying it was better. I actually feel like the art just getting smoother actually on my end. How you feeling about the art style, guys? Because like the whole cover page, that shit goes a bit creepy. That's what I would say in the chapter 193 of the Sakura Comic, the part 3 was a bit ugly as fuck.
All I know is that JJK has the potential to really provide some horror-esque type content. And I really look forward to future anime seasons as well as hopefully future movies where we can see designs like this really come to life on the big screen or on the small screen. I enjoyed everything about this chapter just aesthetically, from the looks of the curses of old boy that's now a curse. I forget how you say his name. And then Maki and Narutoshi, I believe, battling against it. And hey, look, he was a problem when he was alive and just a human sorcerer. Him as a curse now, yeah, it's a whole different level. But like you mentioned, until we see like the body get done in, nobody's dead. So people panicking about Maki. I don't think. Well, actually, Gege actually has no qualms taking people out. I don't think he's about to play with Maki's life like that. And basically Dinger like, yeah, she about to die. It's like, no, 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 no. No. I don't think about to do that. But it was a good chapter in resolves to just continuing this fight, allowing old boy to really showcase his own talents and how, they made a reference. He's different. He's harder to understand than Rika. At least her manifestation made sense. This one is weird because he clearly still has his own memories, his own ego intact, his entire personality. He can talk as if this never happened. If anything, the old boy just got a whole upgrade. He got swallowed up by a curse and he took it over. He on his Kaiju number 8 type shit right now. And I like that. I like that this is, Gege does well with his battles, and this is what we are in the middle of. We're in the middle of this big fight, this 2v1 handicap match between sorcerers. One banished sorcerer, I'll say, the new head sorcerer, and then bam, we got a curse. A former sorcerer turned into a curse, and he hit Mach speed 3. This boy
Yeah.
was
So,
fast.
so here's my thing, right? Rika and is it Naomi? Is it whatever, however you pronounce his name? We'll say Nayo. Rika and Nayo's things are same but different. So we already know spirits, curse are all just manifestations of emotions and spirits. We talked about when we reviewed the JJK movie and stuff, how like love is a big theme and a factor. So we saw that the difference of Rika is like the sacrifice in the sake of another person. But also we then found out that it was enacted externally from him, not from her. The difference with this is, it's selfish, it's malice. There was already this rage, and it turned, from what we can tell so far, until it's explained otherwise, it turned itself into a curse. And also, in heavy part because it was not killed the correct way. So there's a lot of factors that are like completely different around it, which kind of explain why the LOL explains why the representation and the amount of manifestation that's there, because Rika fully remembered everything. We're saying that Rika didn't, but when Rika was purified after everything was said and done and he came to terms with everything, Rika did have her full memory intact. So is it really that much of a departure? And then at the same time, I don't think that Maki is going to die here. I know people were talking about that. So I literally just read a message from one of my friends. Like, they're like, I hope that doesn't happen. I don't really see a reason to get rid of Maki. I just think that we need to build a suspense. I've been talking about that, how each fight has to kind of raise the stakes. However, it was really telegraphed and really annoying because I don't feel like this fits Maki's character, that Maki would think as a experienced combatant, this person could hit the speed of sound before. We can assume that they're only going to hit the speed of sound. That just, and I knew it the moment they started talking about it. I was like, oh, don't do this, and then they did it, and I was like, this it didn't make sense. I there's no, Gege can't explain this away from me. That made no sense that Maki would assume that it was about to be Mach 1 again. It should have, I read that and I was like, look, you better expect that this man can move at the speed of light, because I don't know what y'all expected. He definitely ain't coming back moving the way that he used to. But I appreciated everything else about that explanation, using the air and all of that. We already knew, right? He's a cursed spirit. So if he's using the skills that he already had enhanced by whatever modifications his body has as a cursed spirit, there's no way that he was coming to you with Mach 1. I would have said patience if was be at least as fast as Mach 3, and I would have been like, okay, that makes more sense. But as far as just being like, yeah, it's only gonna be just as fast, that just didn't make any type of sense to me. And that took me out of the chapter. Like that moment really took me out of the chapter, because it just didn't feel very Maki like. But yeah, Maki's fine. Her body's tough. Yes, there was blood. It'll be all right. I'm not too worried about Maki.
He's
I
been in the
am
bleed way too
interested.
often.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing how Giga turns to tries to turn this around, because so far we've had a unique-ish outcome to all of the fights. And I don't really see a way of doing that right now, which is a good thing, because that means there's all the room to surprise me. You know what I mean? However, eh, mm, I need Maki to be continued to be loved, worship, and respected the way that we love, worship, and respect them. But as far as like the art itself, there the overall art, when we get pictures and concepts of like the main things, the art is usually really good. What happens is the transition, the fight, the choreography, to me has been starting to lack a little bit. A little bit more blur, a little bit more stretches. I don't know if these are intentional based on the increased magnitude of speed and power that's being portrayed, but I'm really kind of just looking at it. I still liked it. I liked everything about the chapter outside of that whole thing with Maki. I think everything else about the chapter was really good. It's still a top 3 manga for me this week, honestly. Uh, I don't just celebrate mangas because they give me what I want. So I still think it was a really, really good chapter.
I agree with that. Like, this chapter was good with his art. I do agree with some of the lines sometimes hard to read, but I feel like either me, as the audience, have gotten better to understand of how Gedget tells his story in a choreograph, that I can have a much better way to understand the story itself, or is just that he's most recent that his stretches lines. But it could be like what Kendall said, the art style is showing, explaining up the speed of light, the speed of Mach 3 of them going so fast. So it's probably doing that type of art style for that reason. But they did ask a question in the chat: do we believe our boy Kamo is dead? Because we haven't seen him and he got thrown off. Just because he's not on screen, guys, don't mean he's dead. I still think he's still kicking and living. He's just probably got hurt from getting thrown around.
Why would we think Kamo is dead?
Chat
I don't
asked that. I just wanted to answer that. That's why.
No, but I'm saying like why? What in the chat? Y'all could give me like what context? That wasn't even a thought in my head. That's why I'm like, where'd you get that from?
Yeah, because last time we saw him was in page 12 and 13, and then we didn't see him again. But it's because he already went to Mark 3 in that next couple of pages, so he probably got hit by the debris. That's just my assumption. And our girl Mark is the only one that we saw getting hit, to the ground. And yes, I don't think girl's dead either. You cannot hype a couple character like this and just throw her off in the wind, just getting murked like this. There's more to her character, and I feel like this is part 3. Most of the colonies fights have been like 8 parts.
Am I tripping?
9 parts,
I thought
12 parts.
but Kamo was in the chapter for several pages. What are you guys talking about? I'm still confused.
These sorcerers more credit than y'all be giving them. They get kicked off a cliff and y'all be like, "Oh, GG, they done." It's like y'all understand what type of series we in, right? You know, it's gonna take more than we need evisceration. Simple getting kicked off of a high structure ain't enough. You need limbs cut off. Like, come on, give these sorcerers more credit than that. They made it they not dead. Not yet. Just come on, stop. Y'all disrespectful. Y'all getting disrespectful over there.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I don't think he's dead. He was literally in the beginning of the chapter, but then the last couple of pages was just literally about our boy going to Mark 3, and then Maki getting taken down. And there's more. Like, this is only colony part 3 of this. So part 3 still has at least 3 more parts at least. There's more, because most colonies I think has been 8 to 13 parts. So this one has a couple more to go. So I don't see this as the end. And in all light, it was really nice to see their dynamics work together. And also I'm curious to see what other blood techniques we will see. Because the only blood type of powers I've seen is from Avatar: The Last Airbender and JJK. I have not seen no other art powers in comics or manga that I could recall. Unless I'm wrong, please remind me, chat team. I don't know any more like blood type of power system.
There's plenty of blood power systems. I mean, there's a bunch of vampire series. I get what you're saying, but yeah.
Oh yeah.
Dead Man Wonderland.
I've not seen it.
You should absolutely check it out.
That's all blood powers. That's all blood.
Yeah, that's the whole premise of the series. So.
Copy. Heard you. I'll write that down. What's chat saying, Kendall?
Oh no, I made a statement in the chat that for the old heads in the chat, Ace and Neji died at the same time. In like a week or two apart back in the day in the manga world. Wow. So I'm hoping that this isn't one of those type of situations again, because that was a pretty rough month for me. But I don't think Maki is anywhere close to being out. I think she's too pivotal to what the story has to do right now. So
agree. Yeah, like there's more a lot to her to do. Yes, neglect. I did forget about the witch in Black Clover. That is very true. So that is a good point. I definitely did forget about the blood of the witch. But you know, we only saw her in one arc and she has not been used in almost 200 chapters. So she's forgettable. Sorry to say.
Like I said, it's a lot more common than you think it is. It's just
not it's not as popular or known is what I meant. Like it's not as thrown out there unless I've been living under a rock and I have not been known about said series.
I mean, you don't watch Hunter x Hunter and you didn't know about Dead Man Wonderland, so you may or may not be underneath a rock, underneath the sea, possibly as well. You could be SpongeBob. We're not sure.
The other thing too is we gotta remember we are reading shonen, so they're not going to utilize blood abilities as much because there's a certain stigma around blood usage anyway. So when you step out of the shonen genre, you will come across it more, especially when you get into that dark horror thriller type shit. Blood abilities become way more common. Like Kendall said, especially with vampire series, and there's a shit ton of those. It's just a matter of you just got a bit more to explore. That's it. But definitely peep Dead Man Wonderland. I actually am going to read the manga myself because the anime never really completed everything.
Yeah, because I know you're checking out Claymore right now, so I know
Yeah, I'm reading Claymore right now.
Yeah, that is pretty intriguing because I saw a couple of your tweets. I'm like, ooh, this looking spicy.
Nice.
For our topic of JJK, have anybody any last thoughts for this chapter of Maki, what they hope to see next chapter, or you guys overall explain what you guys thought already? All right, Kendall, you good?
Mm-hmm.
All right, chat. So let us know if we missed anything to discuss for JJK. I appreciate you guys' thoughts on the chat. Let us know your thoughts on the Twitter side, on the Discord, or the discussion. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. But MHA, let's get to the other big behemoth on the channel and what we need to discuss, because this is going to be an interesting one. I was going to say MHA. It's pretty interesting. 361 and 362. Woo! And Ray, if you're here in the chat, come join us. If you can. We're here for My Hero, the death. Possibly the death. Confirmation. We saw it on the page, so it could be confirmation. But next chapter is when we fully know. But you know, Boku may be dead, guys.
It might not be next chapter. First of all, let me go ahead and say this out the gate so we don't waste time talking about it. Everything that we saw in the last 4 pages points to Bakugo not being dead. I don't know why everyone's like, Bakugo's dead. I saw a bunch of heroes dive in to rescue Bakugo and Bakugo being safely in the hands of another hero.
Yeah, 4 kicks, 32 punch. Like,
I don't know why the assumption is Bakugo is dead. Now, the thought that Bakugo was about to kill himself unintentionally, possibly, or intentionally, yeah. But I don't. The thing is, like I said, if anything, what we got set up was like, if Bakugo was to do whatever he was about to do, it would have been absolutely cataclysmic to him. He didn't do it, or he didn't get to finish doing it. So I am just not of the mindset that he's dead. Like, again, I don't see what that, and then also, why kill him in such a way where he still does it? Like, if he's gonna die, let him get the attack off and die. even if it ends up being useless, like why would you stop him and then he never gets to do anything? No, I think there's a lot more impact for the story as well with Bakugo being alive still. So we'll see how that goes. But I just want to start right there before we talk about anything. I just think that's the highlight of the chapter for everyone, and I don't think Bakugo is dead. I'm sad that it makes you all sad. I'm sad that it looks like he may be on his deathbed, but I don't think Bakugo's dead. He's been almost dead before, so it's fine. You all will be fine until he's confirmed dead. Again, we'll talk about confirmed dead when it's confirmed dead. But literally, there was nothing in this chapter to indicate that he should be dead right now.
100% agree with that. But like Kendall brought up in the chat, the big three, our Sun Eater, our girl Nijire, and our boy Illuminus. I think I'll be pronouncing his name right. They hold their own. Our boy Sun Eater launched a whole plasma cannon hybrid vast. That's fucking amazing to show his pure strength, just go fully in. So I gotta be proud of that. And our boy Shiraki saying like, yeah, expected that to do some work on me. How do we feel about our boy Sun Eater putting a plasma cannon?
That weak attack that we already knew from the time he started talking about it wasn't gonna work.
Nah, no lie. I hope it was more, but I do agree it was kind of weak. I thought it was more. Abe, you?
Look, all I know is this, man. Deku told him several chapters ago, y'all not built for this shit. Y'all don't stand a motherfucking chance. Like, I want to protect you. And we were like, oh, you being selfish or whatever. But was he wrong? Was he wrong? Was he wrong? Now, I'm not of the mind that Bakugo is dead. The only reason being is that, one, I honestly don't care whether Bakugo lives or dies. He's never been a favorite character of mine. I totally believe he's a necessary character, and I love his character development. Whether he lives or dies is irrelevant to me. I do enjoy the TL being gutted and in shambles over the possible death of him. So whichever one has the TL acting up, I'm all for. Especially since one of them themselves is a big fan. And I know he probably gonna want to square up with me. But I said, all you Bakugo lovers, I love how y'all in the tizzy right now. Personally, I don't believe he is dead.
I'm also a Bakugo fan. Just to put that in context, I am a huge Bakugo fan.
Just say goodbye.
Because it's just like I don't know whether that would be the best move for to do the Deku. But if he is dead, man, everybody who is lamenting, I am here.
Let me say one thing. Let me say one thing before Ray goes off. I told y'all, and I've been telling y'all chapters ago, like literally chapters ago, way back when we were still in the war arc, that we don't need Deku, Todoroki, and Bakugo to exist in the same world. We don't need the three of them to exist. Bakugo and Todoroki both have fire powers. One of them had to go. I kept telling y'all that, and they solidified for more than an arc. Which was the one that they were picking a favor for when the whole story started to revolve around the Todoroki family. So I will go ahead and say this as a Bakugo fan. If he dies, he dies. Somebody had to die. All Might's not on the battlefield to die. If he dies, he dies. He's not dead though.
I know, but people keep thinking that just because there's a war with kids, oh, no kid's gonna die. Like, they already got graduated and promoted to be full heroes. They're not kids in this fucking battle. Yes, they're probably
so now they kids. So that's now they kids, huh? Oh, hey, internet, cool. Back when they was getting their ass whooped by villains just randomly in the forest. Oh, they weren't kids then. Oh, okay, cool. You know, it seems like that comes up when it's convenient.
How you doing? What are your thoughts, man? What are your thoughts on My Hero lately? You know, the chapters we haven't heard in a bit.
Bro, listen, I am sad. Because this was the one where I was like, if there was any character that's gonna hurt everybody, it was this one. Legitimately, this was the one. I was like, there was nobody else who made more sense. I mean, not like, you know, just in a story's perspective. This is the one that I was like, man, like this is the one that was gonna mess up, and this is the one that's also gonna either break or make the morale for all the heroes. Straight up. It's wild, but I'll be honest. I think I think Hori packed him up. For real. If he survives, I'm kind of like, I mean, you made a very pointed.
We thought Maruko was packed up.
No, did we though?
In the internet did. I didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, he made a very pointed point to draw a panel with a busted heart. That's a little bit more damaging than just like losing an arm and a leg. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not gonna lie. When I saw that
Anything
panel
is possible.
in page 12, I literally saw a heart bust. I'm like, okay, is that implication that his heart, Bakugo's heart, got hurt, or is that somebody else's heart that got hurt? But it shows the implication that somebody's heart just got busted. But then
Is the heart busted, or did they stop the explosion of the heart busting and detonating, ultimately killing Bakugo? Did you see a heart busted, or is there a chest impact?
No, bro, his heart got busted like a gusher. What you talking about?
Is it there? Show me.
I want Horikoshi to take his time with this whole is Bakugo dead thing just to see you.
No, we know what's gonna happen. We gonna come back in 2 weeks. We gonna be back at what with All for One rewinding itself back to Prime, and then we gonna be like, what happened? And you're not gonna find out. Then we're gonna go back to Dabi, turn into his like Phoenix form, doing his Vegeta final Flash Testament thing, and then we're gonna go back to Deku figuring out who hell was in the horizon. You know what I'm saying? Like we ain't getting back to this for a minute. Horikoshi know what he's doing, bro. I'm still gonna y'all give me my credit when we come back and this man's heart is intact and he's alive. That's all I'm gonna say. Because I get it. Even the setup, even the thing with the mom, even the thing with the mom. What purpose does it serve for him to be alive at this point? So let me just say this. It's very, very telegraphed. Mom, the weather thing, mom all the way wherever she is, and mom's like, oh, my son hates the rain and this fight is happening and all. I get it. It's a really perfect setup. It's a really good farewell. Sure. However, did you see the heart exploded? You did not. Let's just clarify. Go back and flip through the panels because I sure as hell just did to confirm. The heart is not explicitly. The heart is shown to you. You see that there's an impact, and the next thing you see is that everyone makes this nexus point of condensing the impact point, and he is moved away, and he's on the side, and you do not see. So you tell me, just for the record, we're gonna check that heart is intact. That heart is still fully formed. But guess what? That heart is still fully formed in it. It's a hole. There's a blast. There's not a hole. There's a blast.
Like a blast that made a hole.
I'm gonna all I'm saying is and take an anatomy course.
That's
a hole.
Wrong. If
I'm
wrong,
made a blast.
Y'all don't normally see me stand 10 toes down on a take like this.
You better be 10 toes down.
I'm
5 feet up
to be wrong.
You find out he dead.
I am willing to be wrong, and if he's dead, I will grieve,
bro.
However,
did you see how he hit the ground? That boy hit the ground like boy.
We just finished talking about this with JJK. We be seeing people hit the walls and the buildings and the floor all the time. Y'all get over this,
They're built
bruh.
different. They're built
different. and they still died.
I mean, hey, some of them do still be dead. Again,
they be dead.
If he dead, he dead. I'll know next chapter. That's all I'm saying. I'll know next chapter. Y'all let me live on that.
There were a lot of things in this chapter that was kind of like, yeah, bro. He packed up. It's Bakugo.
Look, I done told y'all from long. I was seeing the death flags for Bakugo. I've been saying that for like a couple episodes. I was like, hey, it's death flag. Y'all didn't want to admit it, but it's death flag. I tell folks, so this is like Ace Neji type shit. Like for real. Like for real. Like, and I feel like we like Bakugo so much that we're all in denial stages of grief. I am in my stage of grief, and I am absolutely giant all capital letters. This is all denial.
And you know what? Hey, I feel like that's the death that I don't want to say they needed, but that's the death that shows them that ain't none of them safe in any of this. If Bakugo got took out, which was literally one of the best of all of them. Oh, we all like if he got took out, I'm in trouble. You know, I'm thinking I hear that if I see that, and I'm anybody else that's not Deku, bro.
I don't know if I said it
And but the way
this
that he
episode,
confronted, saying that look after the others, I gotta win, right, Izuku? Like he was literally saying his last farewell. Like he literally said, like, I'm gonna hold off another couple minutes before Izuku arrives. Like this is what I gotta do. We must win.
two things, and I said this. I don't know if I said it here or I said it on a space, but it would actually everyone in that area dying would be super, super just like amazing to me. Me, the cynic in me, I actually would love more people in that area.
What is wrong with you? Who hurt you?
The cynic in me would love more people to die because of the impact that it would have on the whole entire world structure, because it's not just about Deku. However, how many times has Koshi sent y'all deep, seeming to be a matter of fact in a direction only to be wrong about the direction that they sent you in? That's all I'm saying.
Twice is dead.
You didn't have to do that. You didn't have to do that. You didn't have to do that to me.
I'm
muting. I'm
bringing
done
it
talking. I'm done talking.
I'm just giving you, look, body for body. Twice is dead. Bakugo is dead.
Look, and keep in mind again, didn't Deku said that y'all wasn't ready for this? This is gonna be a whole different beast. And as expected, it was. It would have been utterly ridiculous for no casualties of importance to happen. Let's just say that. It would have been ridiculous. It would have been too shonen. If no one got fighting Shigaraki, who is also a combo of awful one right now.
Did you hear him say he keeps referencing Prime All Might, and we all know how much of a monster Prime All Might was.
Exactly.
You think these people gonna take him up? All right.
And
y'all got too much hope for these kids now. Y'all got too much hope.
I
said we'll be back after this crime break. I'm sorry.
I took up duality of how Abe just brought that up, because it just brings that even the duality of Shigaraki / All For One have been saying, like, you guys cannot do nothing to me. Don't you remember Prime All Might? And like they're not understanding, like they literally have almost 10 people trying to do something against this version of Prime version of Shigaraki and All For One. And they expect that they could do something against, well, All For One back in season 1 anime took down a normal, and he said that he could have taken down with 4 or 5 hits, but it took him 100 hits to take down this version of a normal. So it shows the big difference from going to a 45-6 hits to 100. It shows the big difference.
So this is why, to be serious for a second and bring it back, this is why I say it would be actually more impactful for more people to die here, or at least be more critically injured. Much like as I forgot who said it.
What you mean,
I forgot
bro?
who said
they
it.
literally fighting for their lives.
So hear me out. And I'm gonna use the name that I saw earlier, all for Shigaraki. Yes, this fused of whatever they are, right? Deku's nowhere close as far as we know. And as Shigaraki has put it, y'all built y'all coffin. Y'all built y'all coffin. Y'all thought you was containing me. This is y'all coffin. And the fact that he said that multiple times is why I'm like, it would actually have some premise for there to be a little bit more pay off for that, to again emphasize this difference in power, because the idea here is there's really only one person with a glimmer of hope of beating this man, and it's Deku. I don't know if y'all realize this, even when you put these things side by side, Deku ain't even evolving at the rate that Shigaraki is evolving. And Deku was already not at Shigaraki's level before this fight started. So we still need to see some cataclysmic thing happen to really push the boundaries for Deku. Deku still needs to have, if it's a fight with AFS or if it's a fight with somebody else, to kind of prep Deku and let him really build into this. So him going into, we already know that the morality and the humanness of Deku can definitely take him over, as we've seen with, with dark, dirty, emo Deku or whatever. So I still think that there's a lot of character development that can happen. Is Bakugo more than enough by himself as an impact? Sure. But I think that is still selling it short. If Deku's not going to show up immediately in the very next chapter or two, then more people have to die. It cannot just be, oh, you stalled and killed Bakugo and Deku takes 3 more hours to get there, 5 more chapters, and nobody else is dead. That's ridiculous, bruh.
I mean, they've been alive this long. That's all I'm saying.
They finna die, big fella.
Look, all it's gonna take is one of them blinking. This has been quirkless Shigaraki all for one.
I was gonna bring that up again. He's still not using any of his
Quirkless.
quirks.
He's still not using any of his quirks, bro.
Evolution of whatever his body is still.
So it's just like I need folks to understand. Like
let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. That's
there was very much a chance that they all knew that they were gonna die here, especially when the plan was absolutely busted when Deku wasn't there.
That's what I'm saying. So
Deku
can I get the ramification of that? Can I get the? I get how grievous that is. No, it's one person. I think
Bakugo is one of the most important people to the entire story of Deku.
He's that important. The morale of that whole entire fight has been being carried by Bakugo. Bakugo is barking orders to other heroes that are present, other professional heroes. I need more ramification. I feel like
this
that's
is
just me.
Huge ramification, bro.
But would it also have worked that if he arrived,
I'm saying quirkless in the main stuff. He can't use any of his actual quirks thanks to Aizawa and Monoma.
But I'm saying
because they got him on lockdown right now.
But
and he's still fucking him up like this.
For real.
Wouldn't it hurt if Abodeko came and arrived and came too late to see Baku go down for the count? Like he sees him dead, as well. He's like, oh shit, I came too late, and just berserk mode. Like
he's basically he said that to him. He's like, remember how mad he got last time when I poked you full of holes. Imagine how mad he'd be if you showed up and you was gone. Essentially, is what he said to him last chapter.
So
remember.
That's why I think that maybe he might actually be dead. Like I'm not saying I want him dead. I'm a fan of Bakugo, but for story, what happens if he actually comes out to be dead? Like these were his last words of a hero. That's actions of a hero, and the deck actually pops and be like, "Yo, I came too late. I should have been here faster, and I should have." And then now him as he overthinks.
No, well, that's two of them. It's Aizawa and Monoma.
Fine. If we can't
there
kill
are two of them.
If we're not gonna kill everyone else, I'm gonna hurt you guys' heart even more. He can always just take Bakugo could just be alive just a little bit longer for the activation and negation of his quirks to stop, for him to absorb Bakugo's quirk. Will that make you guys feel better?
He absorbed the absorption of Bakugo's quirk. I mean, I think that there's a lot more to it than just that at this point. I feel like there is a much bigger plan that All For One has, like for quirks in general, that we're just kind of like he hasn't really given us more keen insight into, because like I'm like it can't just be I'm going to kill everybody, it's all done. No, there's way more to it than that. I'm just waiting for them to start revealing what that actual plan is from All For One. Like I want to know. I'm like, what is it? What are you actually trying to do, bro? Like I know you like, and Shiggy wants to rebuild society, blah blah blah. Everybody wants to do it, but I'm like, okay, like what's up with this? What's happening? I got to see what's up with this. Like for real. But yeah, he really is just trying to hurt Deku. And remember, I think we had this conversation a long time ago where I was like, maybe it's easier for him to take One For All if Deku has hate in his heart. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why he's trying to make him so mad. And I'm like, why? Why?
It's a will. It's definitely a will. It's a will point. So if his will is broken, it has to be like that. Just makes sense. Like it's this space that exists within the wills and the legacies of all of these things. So if Deku's will is shattered, it should be that much easier to absorb it.
Because question as well, because we know, like Kendall just brought up, MHA is inspired by comics, more into Marvel and DC. What happened if we also have like a Death for Superman with Bakugo, or Death for Supergirl, something like, or like in the Marvel comics, when Punisher carry Spider-Man, Bakugo could be that person that's the one that's down for the count. He's just brutally hurt. He cannot, like Kendall said, probably have no quirk, probably dead. That's where I see this going. Like if Bakugo is that character and fits that character, he is, because he's literally loved by most of fans and audience of the series. So Bakugo could be the person that when Deku arrives, he carries him, puts a cape around him or some shit like that, or be like, shit, yo, I came too late, and he takes on our boy Awful Shiggy and see what happens.
I mean, we've been waiting for the moment. Yes, and that's also my point, John. Like One For All can't be taken; it has to be given. So if he breaks Deku, he's more likely to give it up. Is what I think he's trying to go for here. That's my thought. that's why he's trying to do so much like emotional damage to our boy at the same time. So he doesn't have to kill everybody for that. He's got to kill the people most important to him,
Especially
which
since,
in this place is Bakugo.
yeah, especially since we know that Deku is always telegraphed. He's not trying to kill Shigaraki either. He wants to still save Shigaraki. So what happens when you get that type of hero? They're willing to make sacrifices, such as let me give up this quirk if it means like I can save somebody.
Although I'm
Whether it
curious to
will
see where
work
this
or not.
goes. Yeah, I mean, because we've seen images of not baby Shigaraki before he became Shigaraki. Like we saw that now. So I'm like, what's that about? Bro. So I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
because All For One's not fully he's also
Exactly.
not fully in control. So all the fact that Shigaraki's will is as strong as it is in and of itself is the whole thing. The thing that makes Shigaraki so compatible is his strong will. You know what I mean? But that fight back isn't dying, and I think that in itself is proving to be a conflict in regards to All For One.
I also think it's interesting, like how like Bakugo had him shook, and that's why he
Yes.
really went out of his way to kill him here, because he was like,
Yeah,
he
he
was
panicked.
like,
He
why
kept
am I suddenly panicking? Because he reminded him of that second user, and I'm like, ooh, remember second user was catching bodies before
he kept it, bro. He kept it in his head, and I think it's the double personality thing, where it's just like your logic is saying this, but your instinct is screaming something else. You know what I mean? And again, like I said, we have a whole. Is it one quirk now, or is it two quirks? I think there's actually two quirks that Deku has that we're not fully sure on.
I think at this point it's just one.
Is it just one?
It's one and a
it's
half.
second
It's like,
it's one and
it's one that
kind
we
of,
don't
with
know,
also
and the half we
the
haven't
fact that technically each of those can be mutated and evolved based on where Deku is able to basically envision it, because they've kind of already alluded to that all of the quirks have been empowered from when their users had it. So we have to keep that in mind too, that even Deku is still, he hasn't even tapped into the full power, because he still he hasn't accepted the quirks as being his quirks, is the whole thing that they keep saying. So
I mean, I'm all for us finally getting that Deku rage, like the actual rage moment. We got a peek of it. Like I want to see it, bro. I want like
that 100, that mob cycle 100%, boy. Let me
see
it.
I'm gonna be real with you. Like this is the one where I'm like, no, if Bakugo's dead, this is the one that makes sense for Deku to literally be mad and be like, no, this is not okay. I have to dust you. Like you got to get these hands for real, because now it's like I feel like we're getting to that point where we're in the end game now. Like I don't even know. I can't even really think about how far we are into it at this point. But I really do think that this is the point where we can't have Deku being, I'm here to save you, Deku. We'll get back to that, Deku, but we gotta beat down the big bad a little bit to where now other folks can help me. You know what I'm saying? So like, there's gonna be another trade. But I mean, we also, like I said, we talked about it before. We still have like 3 other very large events that we have to cover before we get there. Like, how does Ochako and Toga like wrap up? How does this thing with Endeavor Hawks and the other ones, how does that shake out with All For One's original body? And then, I'm like,
I still think Spinner, we still got Gigamakia, Toga.
Dabi ain't done. There's a specific panel in here that I'm like, hold up, you just threw it in there and thought I wasn't gonna notice? Where they have the newscast. We've had clear skies, and then he's like, but according to a weather report, a sudden drastic rise in temperature is disrupting the weather patterns.
And that's the other thing to remember, is that these things aren't happening in necessarily a chronological event by event sequence. These fights happen simultaneously. This fight was happening while other things were already going on.
There are 2 things that I can see happening with that caused that line to be put in there. Either that's the All For One like bio bomb, or it's Dabi. So things is only about to get worse. Is what I'm saying.
I said this when the fight started. I was like, y'all was happy, but I was scared when you start a fight and the heroes are winning. And there has to be back and forth. I'm also kind
of the mind of, what if it's not rain and it's something else that's like devastating to like everywhere else. Like, what if it's not rain? It could. Listen, I'm just saying things only gonna get bad. Like they gonna get bad.
But then that would make sense towards what Kendall called our boy Davi rise from the ashes as a phoenix. Like if it goes to that, if Davi is in this, being the one that changes the drastic rain or drastic weather, it will make sense because in the folklore of story of rise of the ashes of
I'm
Phoenix,
smoking that. I'm smoking that good shit. Let me tell you, I think Horikoshi. Horikoshi don't waste words. He don't. And I'm like, that's interesting. So.
And that's the greatness of these current mangakas. They know how to not waste panels. They know how to put the story of each page.
You think so, Albert? You think that was what caused that?
It could be because it could have been a breach in that containment thing as well. I'm with you, Albert. It could have been a breach from all of that.
It was already
let all of it seep out in a certain type of way.
If you look at the panel from where the plasma cannon like breaches the containment, those clouds are already on the horizon. Like those clouds are rolling in.
That's true. But I mean, we don't know the distance of which that impact could have been felt. You know what I mean? Like it could have.
I know what you mean. But
like, so it's just another option.
Yeah, it's another option. I don't know, bro. I feel like this is wild. This was.
That could have been evolved danger sense going off. Who knows, bro? Who knows?
He's got so much to show us still. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's still so much happening.
And because real life, I get your comments saying that this is not Chainsaw Man, but not every series has to be Chainsaw Man. This is a war.
Is death just a part of Chainsaw Man's MO? No, anybody could die in any of these series at any time.
Like,
I mean, it's a little more of a MO.
There's always death. And yes, Kendall, the MO for Chainsaw Man is death and depression and this type of storytelling. But
I'm about to say, Night Eye died twice, dead still, by the way.
Twice.
Rest in peace twice.
Twice, bro. That hurt me.
So I like death is nothing new in this series. It's just that when it happens, it's impactful.
But
we lost Midnight. I was just about to say we lost a professional hero.
When Midnight died, I will say this though. When Midnight died, I almost missed it because it just seemed like you just tucked it in there, just like, all right, let's move on.
It was part of the report, bro. It was just part of the report.
It literally listed the heroes that died.
Yeah, I was just like, I just continued scrolling through. I was like, I don't need to know everybody that died.
It was very random heroes. That's why.
Well, no, he did the Robin death with the bloody mask. I was like, oh, oof, okay.
And I just kept it pushing.
I was
like, that was the least impactful death for me, and I was like,
but like I said, I am not that person who's like, no, he's dead, deserves to stay dead. I just think that he gave us very compelling evidence in this chapter that Bakugo is dead, and if he's not dead, I would love to see how he writes himself out of that. Let's be very honest. I would love to see how he writes himself out of that, but for what he gave me in this chapter, I'm not like staunchly like, he's dead, but I'm like, damn, you just convinced me that kid's dead. Like straight up, and so it's gonna be a while before we find out what happened. And I'm like, I'm mad at you for doing that, but I'm like, damn, that's a real good way to keep me reading this story.
That's 100% agree. It's like all these heroes are giving their all. All these heroes are dead as giving their all for what they can do. And even if they fail, like Best Genius, Nijire, Sun Eater, Our Girl Miracle, like they're all giving the best, even though they know they're not on like a one-on-one. They're doing team. And Bakugo, his arm was down for the count, but he still kept pushing. So even if he was dead
down
an
arm and an eye
and a heart.
Wow.
Allegedly.
Just had to get shut up, kid. Allegedly.
I'm just saying, all of y'all, I want tweets, I want flowers. When Bakugo isn't dead next week,
2 weeks.
I just want my respect.
You know what?
Next
and when he's dead, you better be on this camera in all black.
Didn't Ray just give you the formula? We probably gonna get back to Bakugo in like 2 months. As long as you a patient man, as long as you a patient man,
as long as you a patient man,
that's fine. I'm just saying. I will stick by my. I keep saying it. When y'all show me, look, when y'all show me the actual dead, when it said that dead, when dead is
I'll
stated,
print out a death certificate for you. I'll
That's
send it to
fine.
you
I'll
in
take
the mail.
it.
I'll
I
send it to
appreciate you. I appreciate you, Ken.
And then after Kendall will be on the screen saying, "I'm sorry, I got this."
Nah, we gonna
Yeah,
just.
no, that's
gonna,
what I want. That's what I want, Kendall. If
Oh,
he
you
is
want?
there,
Yeah. You know
I
what?
want you to.
Send it to me. Send it
no,
to
I
me.
want, no. I
No.
want you to handwrite "I'm sorry" and hold up the sign.
Oh no.
on that
You
street.
didn't hear what I said. If 2 weeks from now Bakugo is actually dead, I will make a solo video dedicated just to you, Ray,
Just to
and
me, yep.
apologizing to the community in general, but specifically for you.
want it on
And I'm
Twitter.
putting it on Twitter. I'm putting it on Twitch. I'm putting
I
it
want
on
it on
everything I can
YouTube.
put it on. I got you, fam. I got
Mhm.
you.
I need this. It's for my ego. I need.
It's just the most interesting. To wrap up my thoughts for this chapter is that where is this trio mindset of All For One and Shigaraki and our boy Tomorrow is gonna be coming out, because I'm happy All For One still realize like the Tomorrow mindset is still inside the body and still trying to reach out and still trying to be safe by Deku. All For One may not acknowledge it too much because he's like, that's in the back burner. I'm the one that's still having control of this body. But still, he at least acknowledged that this 10% of Tomorrow that's still trying to fight and get saved as a little boy, it's still that 10% is huge. He still has that words of that like shit. I already control Shigaraki, but this boy of Tomorrow is like, damn, I need to worry about that. But he's still trying to fight it. He's still in the midst of battles. So it's like, I'm happy that's still being brought up within the story, and I can't wait to see whenever we come back in 2 weeks or a month when we come back to the transition of this story, of this part. I'm really curious to know how is it gonna intertwine with his character, but how is it gonna affect All For One once he sees Deku, and also how is it gonna help him be saved by Deku? That's what I'm curious about as well.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
How's everyone last thoughts that they want to say, wrap up overall? Because I know we did discuss a bit of everything. So, how about you, Ken? Any last thoughts overall?
Yeah, overall, if this is the new pack that we smoking, if Bakugo is the latest in the collection of Donut Fire users,
Can't stand you.
Wow.
Hey,
I come back and this is what I come back and y'all talking reckless all of a sudden. Okay.
It is what it is. Bakugo gonna still be one of my favorite characters, if not my favorite character from this series, regardless. So, again, we'll see in time. I will go ahead and say as I'm final points. This was my chapter of the week. This was my chapter of the week for sure. For me, anyways, this was my chapter of the week.
Easy, bro. Like easy. Oof.
Ray, your last thoughts overall of this chapter?
Listen, this chapter just had a lot. Like, I would say more so than most of Horus chapters recently, which is why I'm still kind of like leaning towards, nah, bro. That's I don't know. There was a lot that happened. There was a lot that was said, both by Bakugo internally and folks around them. No, so like it's hard to be like, yeah, Bakugo's dead, because like of course we don't want him to die. We love Bakugo. We love Bakugo in this house, and it's like, well, now y'all really got to figure shit out because now they're all in trouble. So I mean, overall, I thought this chapter was wild. Both art, the substance, and just the cliffhangers. Horikoshi dangling us off a cliff now by our wrist. And I'm like, come on, bro, pull me back up. Let me know what's happening. But he won't. He gonna hold us there. Just look at us smiling for like the next month. I'm telling you, because if I will be dead ass surprised if that in that 2-week break when it's over, we come back and he wraps this part up. Doubt. He's gonna go back to one of them other stories that we've been waiting on, and I'm expecting it to be either I'm like 50-50 on Endeavor and All For One's original body, and potentially going back to where Deku was to see what was happening there. That's what I'm thinking. So I don't know. Great chapter overall. So good that it almost made me forget that my girl Maki was still back in the light this week.
He was both in the light and in the darkness.
Stop that. I got 2 chapters that hurt my feelings this week.
Oh wait, hold on. question, Ray.
What's the second one?
Does One Punch Man count as a chapter that came out this past week?
When did it come out this
Yes,
past week?
it did
so
come
then-
out this week. It is a chapter for this week. It's in my top 3, but it's not the
Oh,
chapter of the week.
It came out
Then-
last
then-
week. Yeah. think
I
it was
don't
a
know.
Jump
Then
Plus,
I'm
yeah.
like,
I gotta say, I
started
started this off by saying Kaiju number 8 was my chapter of the week, but One Punch Man does count. One Punch Man is surpassing Kaiju number 8 because that was some beautiful
One
shit.
Punch Man was my chapter of the month.
I can't even.
I'm not gonna hold you.
I ain't gonna hold you. One Punch Man is the series of the summer.
Yeah.
If we really want to be honest about it,
That's
Look,
that's
if
what
we
I'm.
really want to
That's
be
what I'm
honest
saying.
about it.
Look,
So
Yeah.
just to remove
you
it from
guys-
the equation
if
to make
you
it
guys-
fair, yeah.
If you guys
Yeah,
want to
I'm with
review the
that
One
shit.
Punch Man chapter, you can. I could dip out, go to the bathroom real quick. You
Oh,
guys-
no,
and
no.
We don't have to
We'll
do
keep-
Black
we'll keep y'all
Clover
on track.
instead. We can
We said
do
what
One
we said.
Punch
We said
Man.
what we
Keep y'all
said.
on
We said what we
It's,
said. Yeah,
it's in its
exactly.
own world. It's
Yeah,
elite
you
and
know.
it's in its own universe.
Now that we
It's
know
fine.
that One Punch Man is the
we
series of the summer, the series
I
of
just want
2022.
to make sure and ask that in case y'all want to do a quick,
Oh no, we good.
2-3
we
minutes.
good.
No,
discussion
for real,
on
we
One Punch
good.
Man. All right, cool.
No, we good.
Yeah. But overall, it's just this chapter, My Hero, was good. Horikoshi consistently gives us heat. You know, every time a new chapter drops of My Hero, you go away like, damn. You know, you want more, and you're just like, oh shit, is this what's happening? Is this what's next? He's been so consistent, and I appreciate it. In terms of my chapter for the week, now that we established the One Punch Man, I will resort back to saying Kaiju number 8 was my chapter of the week. But this My Hero was definitely a good chapter. Definitely a good chapter. Easily top 3. Easily top 3 chapter of the week. And I will mention my sleeper because we read a lot. We read a lot here. 6Ps, man, that's my shit.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Nice.
Thank you for
6Ps
bringing
is
that
my
up.
shit.
I'm glad people are talking about that. So that's
Yeah, I've loved it since its inception. Something different. The art style is just so wonky and.
Would y'all
unique,
recommend
and
that? Because I've been
attracts
curious
me.
about it.
Hell yeah! It's a good story. It's definitely a good story that they're implementing, and so why not? Definitely keep it.
Okay. How y'all feeling? Wanna bring up Black Clover for a couple of minutes, or y'all not really caring for it to really...
what else is still on the docket?
There's
That's all.
nothing
Black
else.
Clover was the last
Oh,
one.
I mean, if y'all want to, like,
You got words? Do you have words?
Okay,
Give
let's
us
talk about
words.
Black Clover for a second. So, on its hiatus, I learned something about myself about Black Clover. I learned that I don't actually like Black Clover. I love the fights and the power system of Black Clover, and that's it. I learned this. I'll be very honest. The story for Black Clover, not it for me. It's not. I realized what I was really enjoying was the magic and how it was being used and the characters that have it. So I like the characters, like the powers, like the fighting. But the story, I'm just like, you know what? I don't have to care. And so I don't. And so when they having firefights, I'm gonna be having a good time. But when they're not having those, I don't care. And that's it.
That is a good point of view, because when a couple weeks has passed, and I think that Kendall brought up in the group chat, oh, Black Clover comes back in 2 weeks, or I think the same or something brought up.
And did you notice I did not anywhere say that it's bad or trash or anything. I just said that I found out that there's parts of it I don't like, and that's okay.
And
Straight up.
then Abe responded, "Oh, Black Clover is a series, or something between that line that Abe commented." And I was like, "Oh shit, I forgot about Black Clover." Like, I just forgot Black Clover was coming a weekly or coming back from its break that it took to write the final arc. And I had to agree with with Ray to a point.
Motherfucker. 2 black people. You got 3 black people in the
Too many
same room.
black people.
I said Abe and Ray. I said Abe and Ray.
I'm surprised I haven't been called Kendall since me and Kendall rocking similar hairstyles. That's what I'm surprised.
We got
about,
glasses
honestly.
with the
I said,
hair.
I-
I
you
don't know.
I have to agree with Abe and Ray. I literally said I have to agree with Abe and Ray. I literally said the same thing. I did not mess up this
Get
time.
his
I
ass,
said,
Chad.
Damn.
Get his ass.
I'll
I
let
usually
you
mess
know
up.
when
I'm
Enemy
gonna let you
front. I
slide.
already
I'm gonna
said
let you
the same
slide
thing.
on this one because I ain't talked with you in a while, so I'm gonna let that one slide. It's fine.
Damn, I literally said that I'm agreeing with both of them in the same sentence. I guess I have to put the and. Like, oh, I agree with Abe and Ray.
I mean, you should put "and" in there. Hello? Was there a third name to the? Yes. Yes, but
I guess comma was not very obvious.
Ari goes, well, y'all all are wearing glasses. Yeah, you're right. We all look the same because we got on glasses. You're right. See, that's a good one. I didn't think about that. Life.
See,
Good
all
call.
right, Life, I appreciate for the defending.
You
No, that
literally
was a
got the
joke.
different
That was the
shades.
biggest fucking
Look,
joke.
know.
do you see the
I'm going
shades?
along with
We're a freaking rainbow
No,
right now. We're a
hashtag bring
palette.
back Sam. No.
We're a palette.
I miss Sam too. How do I say
Anyway,
I'm done with y'all. Moving on.
Overall, Black Clover has been a lot of fun, and I have to agree with Ray that the fights have been the most hype. When I did some reactions for the channel on the anime and for the chapters, I was mostly hyped for the fights, hyped for the power-ups, but then when it comes to story, it felt like very subpar to me. It felt like it was good for those people. Like, if you agreed that Black Clover's a 10 to 10 for, yeah, it's one of the best series, yeah, read, alright, cool. I'm not gonna go against, yeah, if, yeah. You know, just because I disagree, alright, cool. That's no respect. For people that will stand and be like, nah, Black Clover sucks, MHA's better, like, alright, cool. I appreciate fandoms. I love fandoms. Yeah, do what you love, and yeah, support the series. Yeah, write papers and essays for the series. But at the end of the day, me, I'm here to critique, enjoy, and be a fan of the series for what they are. And Black Clover, I read last week's chapter. It was back. Boom, I read it. There's a time skip. Honestly, I was upset there's a time skip. I was like, shit, I want to know what the hell happened.
Oh yeah, you're right. There was a time skip.
And it's like, oh, it's been 3 months, and like nobody asked a question that why Julius disappeared. Like nobody's making that more of a bigger issue. Yeah, just the Julius King disappeared. I'm like, didn't that shit
okay,
more important than it
no.
should be?
So they justified that because it's like he did it all the time, and it's true, he did.
He did, but 3 months, yeah, like y'all gonna let the Wizard King?
Yeah, apparently he wanders that
Literally
much.
wanders all. Like I wasn't even phased by that. He literally
Me too,
wanders
but,
all the
like,
time.
I was like, it made sense. I was like, oh yeah, he does do that.
But then our boy Damachio disappeared. Like, and nobody's gonna question how.
That was the one that they should have been questioning.
Yeah, like cool, Damachio, and nobody saw that Damachio was gonna check up on the Wizard King, and they disappeared around the same time.
I mean,
Oh, I don't think it was
connection.
overlooked.
Yeah.
I don't really think that was overlooked.
Stop
either.
making me defend this. Stop it.
I'm not defending. I'm asking questions more about
Oh,
the story. Like,
you
I just
making
wanna-
me defend it. Stop it.
But
After
hey,
I
Kendall,
just told y'all my take, y'all gonna have me backpedaling on my own take.
In my own time, I'm like in the same hour. Stop it.
I'll say this.
Yeah, go ahead,
When it comes to Black Clover, Ray, I'm really glad that you were the one to first break the ice on your true feelings about this, because when it was announced in the GC that it was back, I was like, oh shit, that series isn't over, huh? Because in my head, I thought Black Clover had officially ended. And so I was like, oh yeah, we never seen that series again. They're done. And it's like, oh no, they're only on hiatus. I was like, ah. So when the first chapter came out, I'm like, huh, okay. So we read last week's chapter. All right. This week's chapter, I'm like, yeah, this is why I forgot. Look, I didn't need any soul searching. I just finally admitted the truth to myself. The only thing that I really liked about Black Clover is demons and elves and just magic. I mean, I think when it became apparent that death wasn't really a serious thing, and that we will always rely on the power of friendship to save everybody, and no one really goes away, I was just fed up. At that point, the only reason I would read the chapters was just because of Anime Lately. If it wasn't for Anime Lately, I could easily see me just coming back in maybe 12 months and be like, oh yeah, let me finally finish that series I never finished. But I'm cool with never discussing Black Clover again. I'm gonna be real. Unless something pops off, something major that's like, hey, you was wrong. Go back to all those good times that you remember. We're gonna bring it back. It's in regards to one of the comments about Julius being fake, this is crazy because this is similar to what Ray had to do. I had to defend the manga. Julius was not faking being a nice guy. They made it pretty clear that this is like two different sides of the same coin. There's a light and dark side. The Julius they've constantly been dealing with was the good one, who, like his darker self said, I've seen the future and I've seen you try to stop me. Like, it's not Julius.
You gotta go.
Yeah, it's Julius
yeah, straight up.
being himself. Everything we got about Julius before was genuine. It's just now his demonic side is like, all right, wrap it up. I'm here. They are two distinct personalities. So it's let's not discredit Julius and be like, oh, he was faking it this whole time. He wasn't. Maybe he overestimated his strength and resolve over holding down, or as it seemed like he genuinely forgot that who he truly was in the first place as well. So nah, he wasn't being a fake person, a fake Wizard King, but it's this is going to be power friendship all the fucking way. Your typical generic shonen, and as a result, yeah, I'm cool off that. I'm not gonna hold you. I'm cool off that.
First of all, we can talk about Black Clover when they announce that it's actually ending. That's when we could talk
when
about
they bring
it
back
again.
the anime, I'd be fine to talk about the anime.
It just there's no reason to talk about it right now, if I'm being honest. If you guys were here when we were talking about Black Clover, when Aniki was on it and Sam and I was covering it, I kept telling y'all this. I was like, this series should have ended in this previous arc. There really was no, like, before they had announced like, oh, we're taking a pause and all this, I was like, I literally was sitting there going week to week, why are we trying to drag this out? Why? What else? Like, just give me a conclusion, wrap it up nice and pretty. Just go ahead and just finish it, you know? And you get semblances of that even in this whole thing with Asta trying to confess his love again. You should have a little bit of growth and maturity or whatever. It's just this feeling of like, I'm dragging this series out for some point, but it just feels like someone on the timeline said that was it that Demon Slayer just no, it was Bleach is just a series of rescue arcs over and over again. And Black Clover, it's a thing that they were talking about. And it's not entirely wrong if we're being honest. However, that's not Bleach slander, by the way. But the pattern and the cycle was starting to become mundane with Black Clover. The development and the power scaling was starting to become mundane. It was becoming more and more mid over this entire year.
Said the word. He said it.
Yeah, I said it because someone said it in the chat, so might as well throw it in there. It was becoming more and more mid. I still think it's a good series. It's still gonna hold a place in my heart. I think I checked out at some point in the previous arc specifically, and I never came back from then. I don't think that they have a proper way of keeping the right momentum in place besides just giving me good fights. And even this chapter just feels like, oh, well, guess what, guys? This is just going to be a bunch of fighting. I don't see what more lore there is to throw in here. I don't see what more twists and turns that can even be put in. Ultimately, like I said, if y'all want us to cover this, we will happily cover it for y'all. However, as you can clearly tell by all of our collective opinions, I won't give you energy on it, but just know I'm disappointed.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
I'll be real with y'all. If y'all are real big fans of Black Clover, there are plenty of channels out there that love Black Clover and love to talk about it and will give you that energy that you're looking for. This isn't me saying we won't talk about, but it's like I'd say go where your energy is. Like there are people who love this stuff and will just be talking about it because they do love it. And I want you to be in those settings where you can just be happy talking about the stuff you like. So this is not me saying get up out of here. This is just me saying like there are other folks that you can go and enjoy that Black Clover talk with. That's not us. I mean, that was a past us. We were enjoying it, but now that I'll be honest,
transparency.
I can't speak for the rest of us.
No, transparency.
I can't speak for all of us, but it's just like we don't have that same enjoyment that we did. And that's okay. And I hope you understand that.
Yeah, big facts.
And to follow up with that, I really did have a good time with Black Clover. The anime is still a blast.
Same.
The openings, I still would love for Ray to listen to them because even though he skips them all the time, but he should definitely check out the openings.
I listened to the last one, and then guess what? The anime ending.
How about the other 12 that were out there? They were great. Well,
that last one was good.
I'll say 8 of them out of the 12 are great. The other 4 are like, but still, overall, we reviewing Black Clover week to week or bi-weekly or monthly is no problem.
I'm reading it. I'm just saying, if y'all want to message me, you can message me on Twitter. I will talk to you about it. You can hit me up on Twitter. You can tweet me on Twitter about it. I'll talk about it with you. But
don't
like,
message me about Black Clover.
Don't
Don't
message me.
tweet at me about Black Clover.
Okay,
them,
definitely
don't
message A.
don't message them. Don't message Anime Lately
You can
page
message me
particularly.
or Kendall.
Message me specifically if you would like to talk about some things, or just tweet
You
it
can
on your
message
timeline.
All thoughts and opinions, please direct them to
But
Kendall.
yes, I'm taking the brunt of it because I'm gonna keep reading because
Fair.
I'm still interested enough in seeing the way that they're gonna choose to wrap this up. My last thing that I want to say is that please understand that the dynamic with Julius is not like any twin flame dynamics that we've seen in the series thus far. Don't try to compare it. There's nothing to compare it to. That's one good thing I would say about Black Clover in regards to things like this is that the way that they chose to show different lights on the same thing versus just rinse and repeating is definitely good. But Black like I said, Black Clover could have ended before. I wouldn't even say it peaked at the elf arc for me. I would say it was actually, I enjoyed all of the things that was building up to this demon war, so to speak. I didn't like the execution of it though. I didn't like how they chose to go about it. I would have rather either making it a succinct, nice tie-up where they were, or they needed to expand and go really a lot deeper into what that is. But I think that the moment got too big too fast, and we just got what we got from it.
I agree. It's like with this series, like I was saying, we don't know. I mean, I know we will not be reviewing Backlog on a week-to-week, bi-week, or monthly, unless there's a hype-ass chapter that actually needs discussion, but that will be more brought up behind the scenes if we need to. But from here on forward, if you guys want us to review Takamoto Days, Alien Area, something much better that we could give a much better highlight type of discussion to the actual series, that's something that we could discuss. But if you guys want us to do that, write down the chat, write down the comments so we can know and see if that fit us in our schedule and time slot. But for Black Clover, it's fun because the only two things I care about these two chapters, which is sad, Asta asking the sister to marry, and she have said nope, decline, and I was like, yo, no lie, I understand why he declined, and I'm like, yo, that's actual some growth in him. He actually understood, and it's been some time. But at the same time, Noel and Mimosa still falling in love with the same man, and none of them doing shit. And then when our boy Julius, or the flashback of who he truly is, I didn't give a fuck about. And when he said you're flawless, you have a flaw and we need to get rid of you, I was like, all right, cool. And then he said, I'm gonna surpass the Wizard King right now. I'm like, okay, what? So those are things that like the plus ocho with the power friendship type of meaning is like, it's fun and all, but when you're having like a discussion type of base, it's not fully in depth to have a full conversation for it. With a 3-panel, 4-panel team, is not really up to the table for it. So overall, if we don't want to talk Black Clover for here in the channel for you guys, we apologize, but hopefully you guys could still stick around and hear us talk about other many good series or great type of discussion series that needs more highlight for it.
Hey, y'all feel free to just tweet the Anime Lately page directly and tell us series that you guys are interested in.
Too.
You know.
With that being the case, I know everyone gave the chapter of the week. I didn't have the chance, but I did want to give a shout out to Alien Area. It's doing good so far from the 9 chapters I've been reading. It's not perfect, but it has the potential, and that I hope that I'm not reading another series that gets axed. That's what my hope is, because I've been reading Ayashima and other series, it just keeps getting axed. But I might be starting 6Ps because I keep hearing like A brought up, and it has 40 plus chapters, I believe, right about now, right? Let me see. Yeah. 44.
Read Earthchild, you bums.
I had them a docket, Earthchild, so the 6Ps.
After Claymore, I'll start Earthchild.
Thank you, because I very much agree with that. Please finish Claymore and then read Earthchild.
I'm enjoying Claymore. I'm enjoying it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm already like 30 chapters in. It's a good story.
I'm actually rereading. I'm rereading Death Note to adjust my slander to make it more slanderous.
Hey, that's a big W. That's a big W.
Yeah,
yes,
definitely.
Slander them motherfuckers.
Definitely big dub.
What's funny you said that. I was told to actually watch the whole series of the anime since I have only watched up to episode 5 and I keep hating on it. So
Vash, don't tell us anything about
you don't need to tell us. Yes,
please
thank you.
Don't start talking about that.
Thank you, Abe.
Who you lying to? Who you trying to fool?
shit. Okay,
He
I don't even know how to
bullfaced
follow
he
up on that.
bullfaced told Pat he bullfaced told Pat that he's going to get caught up on Hunter x Hunter this year.
I did say
Caught
that. I
up
know it.
this year. He
Yes, I
said
did.
that.
And I stand by that. Thank you very much. So I guess with that being the case,
I
my
am very
chapter of the
glad
week,
that that remains. Yes.
my chapter of the week was Spy X Family chapters 66 because the story's moving forward. We're not having no more point decimals. You know, I love my side stories, but at the end of the day, yo, Spy X Family, you have potential. You have a fucking anime with 66 chapters, and Mission Sakura Family don't have any anime or announced. And I'm not saying I'm hurt or biased or like fuck you and like that, but more like, yo, you have so many decimal chapters. Can we get like story move along if you want to continue like like your season 2? So that's my hope, and I'm glad the story's moving along. Spy X Family has potential to continue with what it's doing and the content. So that's all. I'm happy that's finally bringing the chapter about weekly. So with that being the case, any last thoughts for what we guys discussed, brought up? You guys want to give a shout out to any other series before we go?
I just my parting thoughts for Shonen Jump this week is, if only Bakugo had a mimosa.
Wow, chat, really? Wow. Wow, I just read that after me speaking. Okay, cool. Damn, I see just shots fired. Oh, I guess I got my lights fixed for nothing. I literally just I'm gonna probably start streaming sometime this week, some night. I'm just surprised. Say hey, just like Ray say, hey, y'all wanna play Fortnite? Oh, not me though. And just start a whole stream. I might do the same thing. Yeah, I wanna watch Hunter x Hunter. Not me though. And just boom, wait, Vash is streaming Hunter. Guess what? That might be happening this week. I'm gonna just stay that,
I mean, you could talk it all you want.
and I'm gonna walk it. Dude,
Much
I'll walk it out, walk it out.
much like my manga takes for this week. When I see it on screen, when it's proven,
Okay,
then it's proven. When it's proven, then it's proven. I don't know.
Heard you. Alright, cool. Ray, as you were saying.
Oh, that's all I said. That's
Okay. Abe, any last thoughts before we head out?
I guess, you know what? I was gonna say it regardless. F Black Clover. I'm done.
All right. With that being the case, guys, as a reminder, if you heard in the beginning of the show, we would like to move Anime Podcast to like a 7:30 p.m. EST on Sundays EST. So if you guys like that, if it works for your schedule for our regular fans and audience, we would like to see you there still and be chat with us and talk and for us to interact with you. So if that could work with you guys and the fans and the audience, let us know in the chat, let us know in the comment section if that works for you at the 7:30 p.m. EST / 7 p.m. start time. We appreciate if you guys give us your feedback. And there is no weekly Shonen Jump chapter next week. No issue because today was a double issue, so most likely no Shonen Ronin. If there is, we will give you guys an update or of a topic discussion of some series, Sakamoto Days, highlight, whatever may case be. But other than that, guys, we appreciate you guys watching episode 51 of Shonen Ronin. We appreciate you guys checking out. Anime Podcast is this Wednesday night where we will be reviewing the Bell movie and discussing what happened at Control Expo. A lot of news dropped, so those will be our main 2 topics of this Wednesday. So definitely check that out. We appreciate you guys following us, checking us out, subscribing, commenting, and don't forget all our link trees and where to follow everyone here on the panel and the team is down below in the description. Other than that, we'll see you in the next one.